Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Chingo Chats. Keep your politics at the door. We just knocked out an episode of Red Pill Tamales. If you like that kind of thing, go check out that RSS feed. This is the Chingo Chats RSS feed.
Yeah, actually, this will be our premium episode. So it's actually I'm gonna make maybe a teaser of these, and the teasers, rather than putting them on our RPT feed, I'll put them on the Chingo Chat feed. So all the Chingo Chat content will live on that feed, and just the premium stuff will be on Red Pill Tamales Patreon.
Okay, for sure.
I like it.
So shout out to all the patrons, man. Absolutely.
Yeah. So you were telling me something about George Perez, your mom's house, and funny enough, we were talking about what would this network be called, because I had actually brought up your mom's house studios, Thick Boy Studios, all things comedy, whatever. I don't think we got to a name, but on the last RBT, you mentioned this George Perez episode and how the set was good and their cameras are great.
Yeah, I'm really just curious what the business model is, even. You know what I'm saying? For someone that does focus on their Thick Boy Studios or YMH Studio, whatever. Like, what's the business model? It's like, okay, we got to have this many shows, this type of facilities, this type of staff, and this is how we monetize. You got to have at least a couple sponsors here, a couple reads there, subscribers there, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. But anyway, highly recommend George Perez on YMH on your mom's house. I don't even really listen to your mom's house.
I used to be addicted to it, and then over the last probably 2 years, I don't think I've listened to much of it.
Sometimes you fall off a different podcast. But man, George Perez was telling some stories, bro, of like how he was making some trail wins in the comedy game, and then some shit went down and he got picked up, and it was just like so many things like by chance. It's like the dude I beat up, his sister was a DA and this and that, and he happened to see me on TV, and there I was, with Wilmer Valderrama on MTV, and how he like first got in the game. He was dating a lady who was into poetry and shit. She'd go to the open mics and she'd take him with her. And I guess at some of these poetry open mics, you had people like Jeff Garcia doing comedy, and next thing you know, George Perez is like roasting motherfuckers and roasting the headliner, and the headliner's like, hey, you need a feature for me. And he's like, what the fuck is that? Like, I don't even know what you're doing. I'm just a dude from the hood type thing. But very entertaining, man. Like Tom and what's her name?
Christina?
Yeah, Christina. They were just like, oh my God. Like, you had to live like this? And it's like, how'd y'all play with yourselves in the jail? Like, how's that? He's like, man, that's frowned upon, man. You can't have nobody. It's like you can't let your guard down, and you in your bunk trying to take care of your business. And one of the enemies, and what would happen if there's a riot, and what happens when they transfer you to facilities, and how you make a shank. And they were asking him, like, how you make, like, the burritos out of Doritos and Slim Jims and stuff, and what kind of job did you have in prison? How'd you do comedy in prison? Super fascinating. George is the homie, and it's so crazy to, like, work with him and kick it with him, but yet he's been on all these shows. He's connected with all these people, and, he's in that scene, and he was talking about like him being at the Comedy Store. That was like a recent thing. It's just the last few years.
Wow.
Very interesting, man.
When did you get to kick it with him?
Well, he's featured for us a bunch of times. So recently was, I believe, when we did Brea, one of those type of cities where, boom, he does 20 minutes. So we're hanging out backstage. We're catching up. Hey, I'm going to be in Houston soon. So he'll be out here. The same time I have my weekend at the Houston Improv. Mm-hmm. He's going to be at that Skank Fest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's going to be at Skank Fest, so he's going to stop by my show and hop on, too.
Oh, dope.
Yeah.
I was going to jokingly say, you want to go watch Christella this weekend at the Improv?
Hell no. I'm curious, like, okay, is your shit funny?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Are you crying and complaining about some shit?
Yeah.
Are you up there being Lefty Larry?
Who I do want to go see is our boy and What Did He Said alum, Chris Stefano. He's going to be at the Smart Financial Center in Sugarland, the big theater.
Him and who?
Sal Valcano from the Impractical Jokers.
So is he featuring for Sal?
No, it's his tour. It's Crazy Chaos tour. I think it's like Sal. At the bottom was like, Sal and I think one of the other guys from them were going to, do some time maybe. I don't know that they're stand-up comedians at all, but I know that they do the podcast together now, and, he's a funny guy. So...
Well, yeah, I could have swore they were comedians.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know what their background is, their sketch, improv, or what, but to do, what's the name of that show?
Impractical Jokers.
To do Impractical Jokers, I mean.
Yeah. You got to have some good improv skills.
You got to have a whole bunch of skills, like just television production, like all that. So damn, how many seats is that Smart Financial?
I was actually looking up at the map the other day because I've seen a concert there, and the outside of it, you've probably driven by it when you went to Dr. Jeremy's. It looks huge. It's not that big inside, like compared to what it looks like, because it's a beautiful like facility. But if I had to guess, probably 1,500.
No.
Yeah.
It's got to be bigger than that.
I don't think so, man. I'm going to look it up right now. But either way, like it's a dope place. Like,
I think El Alfa just played there. The Dominican cat.
Dude, I just typed in S and it fucking filled it in for me. That's weird.
You fuck with El Alfa?
No. Oh, my sister went to that.
Okay, ask her how many people it was. Sugarland getting all the concerts, bro.
That was way fucking off. It's 6,400.
6,400 people. There you go.
Why did it? Oh, the concert I went to, they had the drapes for half the section, I think it was. And they didn't have the whole thing open, so that makes sense. But even then, maybe it was 2,000 when I went. Anyway, 6,400. Designed to a 200,000 square foot indoor climate controlled venue. 14 luxury suites. 1,900 seats to a maximum. Oh yeah, so 1,900 seats for a small show and a maximum of 6,400. Chingo has a telemed after this. Everybody, the allergies have officially kicked his ass.
Yeah, man, it's been like a fucking week already. Here we go.
El único rapero del planeta que compró 2 Bugatti en menos de 6 meses. Tu demagogia en mi ñema se mece. Prendieron velones para que en la vida a mí me vaya mal. Cuando te has visto que el que está con Dios que le va mal. Estamos en hoja, 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 estamos en culto, estamos en culto, estamos en culto, estamos en culto.
Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon.
Nothing like you just licking your spoon of the yogurt listening to this.
This genre is so interesting.
I don't get it.
It's amazing.
My sister loves it.
It's so cool. It's so cool, bro, because...
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. No, it's not. Yeah, it is.
Okay, go.
Sometimes, Rob, you got to know how to analyze genres. So, number one.
What genre is it?
It's called, I believe they call it dembow.
Okay.
So
familiar with dembow. I didn't know that.
It's not reggaeton dembow.
Okay.
I made the same mistake when I was visiting the East Coast, and these motherfuckers were schooling me years ago, and they're like, this is what everybody's listening to.
Huh.
I was like, oh, what about Daddy? Okay.
That's 2001.
He's like, Dominican dembow is what all the bitches is on in New York. They were like, if there's a house party, it's Dominican dembow. So now... Obviously, you have a big Dominican community in New York,
right,
and Boston, all throughout, right? Especially Washington Heights, the Bronx. That's where Romeo, Aventura, Cardi B, they are Dominican. Now, this is their Dominican cousin. Okay, so in the island of Dominican Republic, obviously you have like bachata. That's not what this is. Obviously, nearby in Puerto Rico, you have reggaeton. That's not what this is. Obviously, nearby in the Caribbean, Jamaica, you got dance hall. That's not what this is. So it's not old school Dominican like bachata. It's digital. So now it's requiring technology. It's in Spanish. It's like, what box? It's like it could have only been made by Dominicans. This dude's selling out all over the fucking place. That's why will.i.am, Bad Bunny, everybody's reaching out to him. J Balvin, everybody named Mom's reaching out to this cat, El Alfa. And Marisol's experience with this shit is when she was in the Zumba scene, sometimes they'd have like Dominican dancers come and participate, and they'd be like, this is the future, especially on some Zumba shit. And people would hear and they're like, oh my God, hell yeah, we could Zumba to this. So I'm fascinated by it because of all the things that it ain't. It's not hip hop.
Okay.
It's not dance hall. It's not reggaeton. It's its own fucking thing. The beats are like electronic. It's like, it don't sound Caribbean, but it, you know what I mean? Like it is. I don't know. It's trippy.
Okay.
I think it's very cool.
I'd have to give it, yeah, no, I'd have to just give it more of a chance, you know?
I mean, I'm not expecting you to like, oh my God, Rob's gonna fall in love with it. He's gonna be boogieing to that shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't expect you to be in your car just like, I'm jamming the new El Alfa. You know, it's like, no, put some John Mayer. Go ahead, put the John Mayer back on.
1,000%. But even then, my sister, she took me out to lunch for my birthday on Monday, and she was like, "Yeah, we went to the El Alfa concert on Friday or whatever."
How much fun did she have?
She fucking loved it. But you know, she's like in her late 20s. Like,
it's probably high energy.
I'm sure it is.
The fucking beats, the bass. You could dance to. It's like movement. So it's like, I can only picture, dude. I can only picture if you're like a young female going to this thing. It's high energy. It's all kind of dancing. The beats, it's all about the beats. It got some fast Spanish rapping. You probably proud to be Latino and shit. And you know, I don't know. I guess I look at it like this. A lot of times when it comes to this music, I want to use the word, it's a food term. It's not trailways. It's not trailwinds. It's a, do you know what word I'm looking for?
Like a trailblazer?
No. No, it's basically like, okay, why is Vietnamese style boil in a bag so big in Houston? Why is that? And then there's the word I'm looking for. Is it fuck?
I can't. I don't know.
It's the winds. This is what I'm trying to describe, because I'm trying to make the parallel between the food and the music.
Okay.
Why is Vietnamese boil in a bag concept so big in Houston, Texas? Mm-hmm. Well, in Vietnam, you have a big fisherman culture. Also, you have their river, which is very similar to the Mississippi River. Just the humidity, the geographics, the type of fish, the crawfish, everything. Now, these people immigrate to New Orleans and Louisiana and Houston, these big port cities, to be fishermen. They escaped the Vietnam War. So now they're bringing their flavors, mixing with the Cajun and the French and the spices and the Old Bay seasoning and the crawfish and the bag.
Old Bay.
So now in Houston, you got access to some delicious ass shit. Now, let's try to draw the parallel with the music. A lot of times I appreciate genres without having to be like, I mean, sure, could I jog to it? Fuck yeah. You know, if I'm high and I want to get a workout in, if I'm in the mood for that, you know, fuck it, put that on, right? It's energy. But a lot of times I appreciate genres and musicians and artists and things like that by looking at all the different ingredients and what led to all that. Like, what made bachata? Why is bachata such a thing? And why is Romeo so successful with it out of New York? He ain't even from the DR. You know what I'm saying? How is it that he's able to sell out bigger shit than Mark Anthony and Jay-Z, and they're on his nuts? Jay-Z's on his nuts. Who the fuck is this kid, and how did he sell out Yankee Stadium multiple times? Where are all these Dominicans coming from?
What's the conclusion to that?
Well, it was just like it was like the perfect talent at the perfect time. There's a documentary, Desus and Mero.
Oh yeah.
So Mero is Dominican American as well. Obviously he has a deal with Showtime. They did a whole documentary on Romeo Santos, like one of the biggest pop stars. Like, there's people who probably never heard of him, but he could outsell Usher under the table. Like, he could just fucking do some bigger shit where Jay-Z's like, oh my God, I'm so honored. So they started off doing a boy band New York version of this old school romantic Dominican music that had these little guitars and ballads, and you had like the Mount Rushmore of bachata, like old school dudes that were like the main ones. Now you got this kid from New York and his homies from the Bronx. They make a little band. They're playing at little restaurants and bars. They start to get a following. They drop a mixtape, like a demo, with like a handful of songs. I think Obsession was on there. I'm on, whatever the fuck. Boom. Everybody's, all the Dominicans, all the Latinos in New York, now they're all bumping it in their cars. Boom. People making bootlegs. So the timing of it all. And fast forward, yeah, he's selling out bigger shit than, like, they can't make shit big enough for him to sell out.
Can't make shit big enough.
It's like, you're going to have to make a bigger Yankee Stadium, because I've already sold it out multiple times.
Wow. Mm-hmm. That's interesting, man.
Yeah, it's almost like, well, John Mayer's done Madison Square. I know, but this motherfucker
Why you gotta keep bringing it back to John Mayer?
Because you're so dismissive. of Dominicans right now, bro. You have to keep an open mind to Dominican people and their food.
Yeah, no.
And their plight.
What is their food? Is it plantains? Keep your plantains,
dude.
bro.
Oh,
Keep your plantains.
They about to hit you with a frijol joke right now.
For real.
What do they eat? Beans and rice.
Yeah.
This is America. Speak English, El Alfa.
I should make a video just saying that, just get all the hate. No, man, that's cool. I think it's great. I think culture's amazing. I think anything that's like completely grassroots like that is extremely impressive.
Also, keep in mind, you from the country, from Texas.
Right.
So to you, it might, I don't even know. I don't know your perspective on it of like how you're just like, whatever. It's fast beats. You know what I mean? Like,
I might as well be listening to like Rammstein, like du hast mich. You know, it's like
but dude, it's witty, it's lyrical. I mean, listen to what he's saying.
Okay, I'm about to get even more.
El rapero.
Play this.
Soy el rapero que compró dos Bugatti en 6 meses.
Play this and then play whatever the Romeo Santos like top shit is, and then I'm gonna say more unpopular opinions about it.
Are you familiar with Romeo Santos?
Of course.
Okay. It's 2 different genres. You know that, right?
I know, but you said that, so you're taking it back to El Alfa right now, obviously. El Alfa. Jesus Christ. El Alfa.
Either way, I'm fascinated. First of all, the DR, to my knowledge, isn't some rich ass country.
Not at all.
It was a colony. They probably had slaves and shit. It was probably a port. You got Afro-Latinos living there. It's not exactly Sweden or Denmark. These motherfuckers got a hold of a laptop and Fruity Loops and made a genre. Poor people being it's like hip hop. It's like hip hop. Poor people getting creative, talking shit, and the rest is history. It's like, make me a beat, click the mouse. Can you afford a PC? Can you get bootleg software? Next thing you know,
El único rapero del planeta que compró 2 Bugatti en menos de 6 meses. Tu demagogia en mi ñema se mece. Prendieron velones para que en la vida a mí me vaya mal. Cuando te has visto que el que está con Dios que le va mal. Estamos en hoja, 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 estamos en hoja. Dame cuarto, dame cuarto, dame cuarto, dame cuarto.
If I was in the car with my sister and she played this, I would just turn it off about 5 seconds into that.
I like him. I like how he changes his voice.
I think it's great art. I think it's great. I think it's creative. I can get why a lot of people, young people, would like it.
He got his own lane.
I would turn it off if she turned it on in my car.
Is there anything like somewhat within the same realm? Like, do you like anything electronic? Or I'm trying to figure out, what is it that you'd be like, turn that shit off, sis? Is it the Spanish? Is it the accent? Is it the beat?
You know, it might be a combination of the two. What is he? Is he Dominican?
Yeah, he's Dominican. Man, I just gave you the whole sermon.
Well, we started talking about Romeo Santos and shit.
Well, he's Dominican too?
But he's not really, right? Because he's not from there.
Well, he's like half Dominican, but he's a New Yorker.
Okay.
But he's all about the genre. That's his roots. He basically took this what's the word? Isolated, strictly Dominican, old school ballad, love song genre and became the motherfucking William Shakespeare, like lyricist, Elton John, motherfucking Kanye of bachata, like sprinkle in some Usher, like heartthrob, all that shit, boy band.
You're right.
Yeah,
I'm not disagreeing with you. I think it's maybe the fact that you're eating this Greek 100% Greek yogurt and describing to me what comes off as a little bit on the. And I'm a sensitive guy, don't get me wrong. Comes off a little too sensitive too often. People that jam that a lot tend to come off not very alpha.
I do not know how to dance bachata.
I don't either.
My wife is an amazing dancer. You would think, yeah, kind of like that.
The whole fucking thing. I tried so hard to get some chicks, that really, wanted to dance that. I tried to learn so that I can get to dance with them because they loved it so much. And then I just didn't want to do it. After a while, I took a couple classes with some people that really knew how to dance.
Oh, good.
And all that. And it was cool and fun. But after about 30 minutes of the whole scene, I was like, I'm so over this. Like, can we go somewhere else?
No, trust me, bro. I'm not a good dancer. You know me. I'm like, some people consider me kind of ghetto and hood in terms of my musical taste.
Sure.
Like, I'd rather jam some hood shit and get crunk in my car and have some speakers and shit, you know what I mean? Versus like...
Now that I can get behind.
Like, let me go learn how to salsa dance with my woman and, and a big part, because we're Mexican too.
Right.
So a big part of us. It's like something within our genetics that not like rejects it, but it's almost like, for example, my wife, she'll say, when Mexicans want to dance salsa, they do too much upper body, and it's like because it's cumbia to them. Mm-hmm. When Mexicans want to learn bachata, they can't really get this style, and there's this other style that has a little extra pop to it, and it's to these artists, it's a different. It's like the old school bachata people. So I think honestly, there was a little bit of like that. Like when I was coming up in the music game, and I felt more comfortable, you know, in the baggy clothes at the hip hop club where it's some more rapping type shit, and it's not like this type of dance, right? Yeah. So my chip on my shoulder is, oh man, those little fancy what would they call those? A luxury lounge. I forget this whole genre of like uppity. You have a dress code now. Sure, the girls are hot. You know, they got a lot more women over there, but they ain't gonna let you in. You're not gonna fit in. You can't dance to that shit, and you don't even like that music. So, trust me, bro. It's coming. Like I might say, Rob, don't forget you from the country, from Texas. Me too. Chingo, don't forget you like UGK and Lil Boosie, and you want to fucking get ratchet, and you want to hear some to the window, and you rather like have the girls backing it up on you in the club, and you with your homies in the VIP, and you popping bottles, and you're being alpha that way.
Totally.
So I totally get it. I am very insecure when it comes to any kind of dancing at a wedding in public, even if it's with my mom, my daughter, my wife. It's like, oh man, everybody looking at me type shit. So I get it. I just try to even look at genres that I'm not crazy about, like salsa music. I'm not really crazy about it, but I try to appreciate it. And I try to think to myself, how did a New Yorican like Mark Anthony, who's like 4'11", looks like a wet dog with tattoos.
Legitimately.
How the fuck he pulled J-Lo? And I try to draw these equivalents where it's like, oh, he's American though. So that's almost like Selena when she was doing Spanish stuff. It was like, he's New Yorican. He's not Puerto Rican. Yet he became like the face of salsa music. And then I'm like, okay, what do people like in salsa music? And then I start thinking, I'm like, a lot of the instruments are cool. The percussion, I give him that. A lot of times the trumpets. And then even when Daddy Yankee be like, takes a break from reggaeton. First of all, he has so many fucking hits, not even funny. When he takes a break from reggaeton and likes to crank out like a little salsa song, I'm like, okay, he's not like the best singer, but I see the song structure. I see where the trumpets come in. I see how Caribbean people, because I'm not Caribbean.
Yeah.
I like Caribbean food, and I appreciate their culture. Like I love Cuban food. I love Cuban coffee, Cuban sandwich. I love, you know, all types of other types of food. I'm a foodie in a way. But I just try to like understand and appreciate and see like why somebody else might like it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I just get a kick of that shit. Like,
no,
like,
dude, I do too. All right, don't get me wrong. Yeah. You know me for a while, and I might not even be that sarcastic with you, but I'm extremely sarcastic and really quick to dismiss shit that I don't like because I think it's just funny, right? Somebody will get really, really bent out of shape if you like tell them that you don't like what they like. And I think that's hilarious.
Yeah, you can't be a control freak and be like, Rob, you need to listen to the trumpets.
Right. That's a good example too. Like ska music, or, you know, this early like whenever like No Doubt, like Gwen Stefani was really hitting it off, and even like Sublime and shit like that.
Oh, you don't like Sublime?
No, I love Sublime.
Okay.
Yeah, but they, you know, I'm talking about trumpets.
I don't practice
the quintessential Sublime bar song, right? But no, I love music, right? And I could pick up the guitar and play simple shit, and I know I could play some simple shit on the drums. But when I see somebody do it at a level like that any salsa player or anybody in Romel's, you know, band would do, or this alpha guy, I think it's phenomenal. Sometimes when I go to a concert, I'll get lost in the musicians rather than the music sometimes, like watching the double pedal or watching the guy shred on the guitar. Like, I think that's amazing. At the same time, I probably wouldn't jam most of this type of, like, what is it called? Worldly music? Like shit out there, like Caribbean music or shit that you might find in the DR or whatever. I would never put that on in my car, but I appreciate the art.
I love dancehall though.
Dancehall?
Dancehall music.
Like the Hana music?
No. All right.
Tell me what to pull up.
This is going to be an interesting episode. Oh, I mean, shit. On some reggae dancehall? Okay.
Whatever you think of when you said dancehall, because I didn't think of anything other than
I mean, obviously Sean Paul. He's one of the faces. He like made it big. You know, you got like Beanie Man, Mr. Vegas. Those are the ones that kind of crossed over. Even Pitbull's culo esa evita tiene tremendo. That was a fucking dancehall beat.
Yeah.
Doom, 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 boom, boom. So it was almost like a freestyle he did on a Jamaican beat. Obviously, they got it cleared and licensed and everything. Probably one of my top 3 favorite Pitbull songs has to be Culo. It was one of his oldest fucking songs.
That's definitely one of the best songs.
I mean, that's dance hall, but I mean, obviously he's doing it Miami style, Cuban American style. But you know, there's a ton of people in the dance hall. You know, shit, Mr. Vegas.
It's funny because when I pulled up top dance hall music, it's Sean Paul, Tony Matterhorn, Mr. Vegas, Beanie Man, Sasha, Lady Saw.
Yeah, they had females in the genre.
Chaka Dumas and the Pyres. Yeah, and then that was really at the top.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch. Bounty Killer. So here's my introduction to it.
Okay.
And it'll all make sense, right? It won't be so like, what, dude? You're from Houston. I don't get it. So when I went to high school in New Jersey, obviously you're living in the dorm room with kids from all over. One of my homies, my homie Tony from Brooklyn, his older sister was dating a dude from a dance hall DJ crew. So they've got, I think it was called Poison Dart. So he'd bring these Poison Dart tapes. It was like their crew, and they would do these basement parties or whatever. So now, as a little Houstonian who just knew about Scarface and the Ghetto Boys and things like that, Lil Kiki, DJ Screw, all of a sudden, I'm hearing motherfucking. Let me pull up some.
Pull up what you're pulling up, and then when I looked up a video, this is a top 2020 dancehall music mix. It's got 8.2 million views, right? I don't know what any of this is.
It's probably on New Age.
Oh, so city.
Oh, so city.
You're living dangerously. Okay. When poor people fed up, check this out.
This one reaching out to all the leaders and media. This is Rodney Price, a.k.a. Poor people governor. When poor people fed up, to your system shake up, your issue gun for whipping the boss. Poor people fed up, to your system shake up, when every day they get to use the door. Me ask the leader, him and the outrager, he make poor people surrounded by danger. Lion, the roach and giant mosquito. So we...
Anyway, it's an acquired taste. It took me a while to figure out what the fuck they were saying. It took me a while to figure out, well, whose voice is that? No, that's him too. He changes his voice. Oh. You know what I mean? And then, so it went from this underground mixtape thing. It's like, bro, they're importing this music from Jamaica. It's hot in Brooklyn at the basement parties. My friend has it on his tapes. To me, I was like a kid in the candy store. I was like, oh my God. I can definitely say that about my high school years where I'm like, bro, there's a new group called Wu-Tang that's making noise. There's a new group called the Fugees. They got a girl in the group. She's dope. They're making noise. Redman. You had a lot of little, stuff brewing at that time. And then I'm keeping my ear to Jamaica because I'm like, yo, some of these songs are catchy. These beats are cool. And I started realizing, how is it that 6, 7, 8 different artists are rapping over the same beat? How does that work? And then they put out these compilations called I think it was like Reggae Gold, and they drop them all the time. It'd be like all the hits. So as I turned into a DJ and a musician and all that kind of stuff, it really just opened up my eyes and ears and my brain to like, okay, if I do have to DJ, hypothetically, a Sunday brunch spot at a soul food place, what would you play early before the mimosas kick in? Because you'd have to play something else.
Yeah.
Would you play 25 lighters towards the end, or would you play a little bit of dance in the beginning? Just, again, like just bringing it back to the food thing where you start to dissect all the ingredients and who influenced who came before who. You know what I'm saying? Now, Sean Paul, he's working with that European, what's her name, Sia? They got so many songs together. It's like, bro, we liked you when you were just underground, So,
music's an interesting thing. Oh, by the way, don't you have a doctor's appointment to get to?
Not yet.
With the baby?
No. Oh,
11:30, right?
I am supposed to go to that. to go to that.
The episode's getting so good. No, it's the first one you're going to too, isn't it?
No, we've been to a few doctor's appointments. So now I'm living in New Jersey and you're tuning into Hot 97. Now, the people you were listening to on the mixtapes, all of a sudden, just give me the light on the radio. Just give me the light. Just give me the light. Shanta Ba. You know what song it is, right?
Yeah, of course.
Dun, dun, just give me the light. Dun. And I'm like, wait a minute. This that genre. They're playing it on the New York hip hop station. Why is that? Hot 97, where hip hop lives, representing all the flavors of hip hop. They were having to say that because Caribbean music was getting so big. They couldn't limit it to just a fucking rap. It's like they got to play some dancehall now. So now you're like, this the Sean Paul guy. He's crossing over. Now he got a record deal. You know what I mean? And it's like all this shit starts bleeding together. And then he has a collab with DMX. And it's just all fucking...
Dude, I think that's great. I think it's cool. I have a really good friend who's they're on a cruise somewhere. Him and his family are from some island. I forgot. I should know this. What are some of these islands? Oh,
Trinidad and Tobago?
Trinidad.
Okay.
It's fucking.
So they're Trinidadian.
Yeah. They're from Trinidad. And I remember one time, not long ago, we were talking about music and this, that, and the other. And he whips out his phone. And he's playing shit similar to a lot of the stuff we've kind of played, right? A lot of the sounds and things. And him and his wife are getting down at the fucking dinner table. They get it. They're into it. Dawn's like, oh, yeah, it sounds cool. Yeah, definitely not her thing either. And then I'm just like, yeah, man, I don't get it. And he's like, you don't get it, man. Just let it, let the music go into you, feel it, whatever. I was like, yeah, it's definitely not. I'm never going to feel that.
What was it? Was it dancehall?
It probably was, based off what you played just a second ago. But man, there was so many different sounds in it too. Like immediately from the jump, like you could hear a bunch of different percussions, and you could hear maybe some like Moroccan.
Maybe it was soca.
That sounds familiar. It was just a lot going on at once.
So check this out, bro. Sometimes what happens, it's almost like food and flavors. Sometimes what happens is it's almost like you just need to be exposed to it just a little bit more, just slowly. It just like starts to seep into the cells, like osmosis, to where you start to get familiar with like, oh, is that Beanie Man? Yeah. Oh yeah, it is. Yeah. Okay. All right. Just I'm organizing in my head. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that's Sean Paul. Oh, that guy sounds like he was influenced by this person. Oh, wait, are they on the same label? Isn't that the same beat? Is that the same producer? So it's one of those things where it's like, for example, when I lived in Pearland for a little while, there was a Trinidadian food spot. Dude, I'd go in there and we just talk shop. Like they would be bumping satellite radio, like internet radio. So I'd go in there and be like, I need a copy of whatever this is. What mixtape is that? And they're like, nah, just log on, get on the website and it played. It's straight from Trinidad. You know what I mean? And then ordering the food. Like, let me get a roti. Let me get a beef roti and this and that. Like, have you had jerk chicken before?
Not really.
Okay, there's a good jerk chicken spot up the street. I don't know. I think we might need, since we're talking about making a network out of this, since I done already threw out like your mom's house type show with me and Marisol, Cafecito Time. We might do a little crypto show. We might do a show about food. We might do a whole show about music, especially music. I could nerd out, but I keep bringing up the parallels between the food and the music because when you're learning about a culture, right? When you have an open mind, what I would encourage everyone listening is don't be closed-minded. Keep an open mind. Even if it's, like, for example, if you might love cumbia and you might sit down your friend that don't know shit about, and you might be like, check this out and play this one. And I'll play some Celso Piña and some Fito Olivares and Aniceto Molina. You're playing all these cumbia jams and you're trying to tell them like, yo, this used to be slave music. Like they used to have to dance like this because they were shackled. This shit went to Afro Latinos, brought it to Colombia. Colombia brought it to Houston via Monterrey and wooty wooty woo. And then you got your DJ Dusties and everybody else that starts remixing it. So you might be like, oh my God, cumbia's so dope. And someone else might be like,
yeah, no shit.
Well, I don't know. It's like, dude, yeah. I just gotta like break it down to you. Like, what are the elements? It's the
That's
Guido.
Me most of the time.
Well, if you break down, for one, you have an open mind. You're obviously a very open-minded person because you podcast for a living. But if you were to, let's say, if you wanted to break something down to them, like, well, why is politics so interesting? Or why is cumbia so dope? Or what's that genre of food you like? If you just break it down to like the basic elements. Like, look, you're going to have the guido, like, and then, doom, doom, doom. It's like a basic African drum beat. I don't know what part of Africa, but obviously those folks brought that shit with them to Colombia. There's really cool documentaries on YouTube that break down, like, these were the first people. So in Colombia, cumbia came about because they mixed some of the European influence. I think it was like the melody and some of the instruments, and then the indigenous flute and some of their instruments, and then the African drum and all this stuff. And next thing you know, you got a fucking cumbia.
Something about cumbia, though, that has, like, maybe we're just biased because we are Latinos and it's kind of more in our culture. We went to fucking quinceañera since we were 1 year old, listening to this kind of stuff, right? Tejano and cumbia and all that. But it just sounds better together once it's performed. Like, when you get those instruments, like the guido, right?
Yeah, the guido.
And the whole thing going, and maybe you have a Dusty that remixes an old classic or something, whether it's the original or something that's remixed, it just sounds better than a lot of this hall type music or a lot of this like other like worldly outside of like the common United States circle of cultural music, if that makes sense. To me, it's like, it just sounds better. I'd rather hear a cumbia jam 100 times out of 100 rather than most of the things that friends from Trinidad or any, you know, Caribbean place have tried to get me to sit through. I'm like, nah, man, I just don't get it. You know, I just never have really felt it. I don't know. Yeah,
and again, everybody's different. Like I said, I was thrown into a different culture, and I had my culture shock. I was plucked out of Houston. Boom, I'm in
super young.
I'm in New Jersey. I'm having experience like, oh, what the my mom just made beans and tortillas. Like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is matzah?
Yeah.
What's matzo ball soup? What's Passover? You know what I mean? What's Muslim? You know what I mean?
That makes me feel so uncultured, because if I were to be in that situation now and try to play, like, let's just say wherever you were listening, like you're buying this jerk chicken, let's say, you know, you were somewhere not here, but Jersey maybe, you're getting the roots of like this kind of not town hall, but what was it called?
Dance hall
music. And they're like, they're expressing their culture to you and like trying to break it down for you, and you're like listening to it, getting it. That's like me going there to these people from Trinidad, let's say, and trying to be like, this is My Chemical Romance, or fucking these fucking punk emo bands that I was into when I was young, and they just would not get it.
They probably would, though, because they might be like, okay, we familiar with roots reggae. Mm-hmm. However, Bob Marley was influenced by maybe some country singers, and you know what I mean? Like,
but the same thing applies to like the Beatles. I don't get the Beatles. I don't
really get Tejano all the way.
What?
My parents don't even get Tejano. My mom can't stand Tejano.
Really?
Hell yeah. To them, it's like, what is this bastardized Tex-Mex Chicano stuff? You could just tell these people can't even speak Spanish right.
That's true.
To them, they're Mexican, and to them, their body rejects Tejano music. It's like, no, thank you. I don't want to hear no San Antonio ass shit. We don't want to hear no San Antonio polka. You know.
What's their go-to then? What would be your mom's go-to type of music?
My mom's not really a music type person.
What?
But nah, she's not. I can't. To my knowledge, she can't be like, oh my God. She might like Juan Gabriel.
Sure.
Or like Rocío Dúrcal, and like these old ballad type of El Puma and Daniela Romo, and you know, these old school ballad type people. My dad, he was into like los trios, like the ding 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 ding, like trios, and rock and roll. Like when they took rock, like these Elvis type motherfuckers, but they translated it to Mexico.
That was his jam.
Ding 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 ding, like do the twist type shit. That's when they were coming up. He had his little hair gel in his hair type thing. But so here's what we're gonna have to do. We got to take Rob on a cultural excursion of trying to expose him more to Caribbean culture. On top of other things, right? We can. It's a culture exchange all the time. Mm-hmm. But Caribbean culture, man, is really fucking dope. So, for example, I told you a little bit about dancehall. So you have roots reggae, which is like old school, your Bob Marley type. Na 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 na, like peanut butter, no jam.
Yeah,
that's a joke. You have that style.
That's a joke.
That's a Cedric the Entertainer did. He's like peanut butter, no jam. Anyway, dancehall is electronic. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So dancehall it's electronic. It's like the hip hop version. It's the younger, more crew. It's not, legalize it, na 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 na. It's none of that shit. It's boom, boom, tap, boom, boom. It's crazy dances. It's sweaty. You know what I mean?
It's pretty crazy when an artist like El Alfa sells out. I don't know how many shows he did. Let's just say he did one, but he sold it out in Sugar Land, Texas, right?
Yeah, in my town.
Yeah.
In my city.
It tells you that like the culture is pretty diverse no matter where you go.
Yeah, that lets you know, hey, motherfucker, this Dominicans. It's Dominicans and people that like that kind of stuff. Because he's crossing over into like, if you like reggaeton, you're going to know about El Alfa. If you're a young Latino and you go to clubs and you like to drink and turn up, you're going to know about El Alfa. And he's the face of this entire genre. Can you imagine? It's a new genre that's starting to cross over to the Black Eyed Peas and all these people. They want your touch. They want you on the track. And then the beat switches for him. They got to switch the whole beat for his part. Have you heard the Bad Bunny? And I'll end it with this. Oh shit! I think my wife wants me to go. All right, y'all.
He's got to bounce.
I got to be a parent and shit. I want to be a podcaster.
Put a pin in it. We'll definitely keep talking about.
All right,
music
so go listen to Bad Bunny featuring El Alfa. The whole beat has to switch up. They got to switch the whole beat to make it dembo.
Okay. All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Peace.